please. Thank you again for being here.
Sure. We have a couple of things.
Okay.
So I'll just reiterate what I just told you, John, and Chris is, unless he was eavesdropping in my office, which he may have been, he's kind of hearing this for the first time. I just got off the phone with Judge Burleson, who's the presiding judge in the city. He called me to let me know that he's extending the eviction stay to November 6th. However, he's adding additional exclusions in addition to the previous ones that we had for commercial and 441s. He's adding all the categories that are excluded from the CDC stay. So basically that means that the only thing that's stayed right now in the city is evictions for non-payment. Now that's the bulk of the evictions, but at least we carved out some more exceptions. He, I think, has been getting on the city about their ineffectiveness in processing the aid applications for these tenants. And apparently the deal is that that the city is going to be audited for their use of these funds at the end of the year by the feds. And so they are, I mean, what they're claiming is that they're having to be extra careful because, and make sure they voluminously document everything because of this audit. Now, I can tell you that with respect to copies of leases and ledgers, we could email that to them, you know, immediately. And I wish they would reach out to us more. I know that Chris has been working hard with the mediators and that kind of thing. Chris, you told me the other day that you only had one tenant so far that actually received funds. Do you have an update on that?
I have not even received it yet. I have one tenant who has actually gotten approval for the CDC funds. And she was one that had an attorney and she was very active herself. So that's probably why she was able to actually get approval, because it does require a lot of documentation, going into meetings, getting your landlord on board. So my landlord in that case was very active as well. So, I mean, it sounds like it may be a 3-4 week process, but that requires everything to happen perfectly, meaning everybody is, playing their part. Now, I have seen a number of my landlords get forms brought to them by their tenants that this Catholic Charities is requiring. So if you do see that from your tenant, all of my landlords are emailing me going, should I fill this out? Yes, fill it out, because that's what they're requiring, and you don't want to slow things down.
So that's the bad news about the city. The county remains where it is. We lost our writ to the Court of Appeals last Friday, and we've appealed that to the Supreme Court, and we have not heard from them. An interesting fact I learned about this is that with the Court of Appeals, it is just one judge, just the writ judge, who makes the decision. In the Supreme Court, all the judges weigh in on it. Knowing the judges in the Missouri Supreme Court, I can imagine that we have votes on both sides, but I couldn't tell you if we have a majority. I also talked to someone who told me, who's in the know, who told me that the reason the Eastern District turned us down was because they want the Supreme Court of Missouri to make the decision. They felt that that was their decision to make, to overturn a judge in St. Louis County, not, the Eastern District's decision. I know that what this sounds like. It sounds like everybody's passing the buck, right? Yeah. Well, maybe the Supreme Court will give us a good ruling. I was reassured. I mean, it was very difficult for us to put in all this work on the writ, a ton of work on the writ, and then just get a one-line denial. But I was assured that we did a good job and we said everything we had to say, and that kind of thing. Some of you may have read it. I know John looked at it when we sent it to him. And if anybody has anything they would have added, please tell me, because I think we had everything in there that we could have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We made the legal arguments and the practical arguments. It was very well drafted by my colleague, Greg Anderson, who had to deal with a lot of cooks giving him advice, about how to do it. There was a lot of up and down the hall between his office and my office, and a lot of emails with some other lawyers who are interested in this. But so all we can do is sit and wait on the county ruling. The other thing with the county is they've been in phase 1 for 2 weeks now. Mm-hmm. If they go to phase 2, according to Judge Burton's order, evictions start again. So they could possibly, they make the phase announcements generally on Friday, although we usually don't see them until the following Monday, but they could possibly go to phase 2 today, and then we'd be starting up again. So I guess if any of you are waiting for calls from the sheriff, you know, keep alert to that, because those could be happening soon. I don't even want to venture to guess how many evictions are in line waiting to be served in the county, but I bet there's a lot. And I think they're going to go in date order based on when they were filed, which is fair. I mean, the people who never got to evict someone where they had a judgment from January or February, they should get to go first. I mean, we have a few of those. So keep alert for a call from the sheriff. You know, hopefully those will be coming out soon. Personally, I kind of think they'll stay in phase 1 for another week, but we don't really know. We don't know what they'll do. They issue these phase announcements, and they talk about all kinds of statistics, and Missouri's this and St. Louis is that, and you know, that kind of thing. So we don't really know. You can go on the Missouri Supreme Court website on their COVID page, and they have a map of the state of Missouri county by county, and you can click on each county and find out what phase they're in. And it's all over the place. And there's neighboring counties where one's in phase 0 and one's in phase 3. So it's really hard to know. I don't think the virus respects county lines, but you know, I feel like rather than being proactive, we're just reacting. When there's positive tests, oh, we have to shut everything down. And for that comment, I'm going to turn back over to Chris, who's going to update you about Jefferson County.
So Jefferson is having an outbreak out there, and they've backed down to 0. Hopefully in a couple weeks they'll get up to 1 again, but I've got all of my cases. They've been kicking to December and January. Now I'll be able to get them once things reopen back sooner, but as of right now, Jefferson is down to, to nothing. So if you do have cases out there, I would just hold off for a couple weeks and then revisit it. Hopefully they're open and know what dates. Otherwise, if you filed right now, they're going to give you a court date in January, just to be on the safe side. So that's where they're at. They're a difficult one because out there, less people are taking precautions, and they have a really small courthouse. So they're going to be, and they have not figured out how to do anything virtually, or even trying, to my understanding. So it's, Jefferson's going to be up and down. St. Charles is down to phase 1 right now because some cleaning crew members came down with it, but they're still letting us proceed with landlord tenant. Just everything else is getting pushed back for a couple weeks and until things clear up. So hopefully, sounds like they'll be, we're still good to go in St. Charles, but Jefferson is a work in progress.
I just found the Jefferson County administrating order from Judge Missy, who's the presiding judge, Daryl Missy. It's much shorter than Judge Burton's are, but it basically says that someone working in the courthouse tested positive. So they're going from 1 to 0. And that was actually effective September 22nd. Initially, when we had the shutdown, Jefferson County didn't seem to have access to Zoom. Apparently the squirrels that run in the cages down there didn't have internet. But now I've had a couple of Zoom hearings there on a circuit court case, but I guess they haven't worked that out for the associate circuit court case, which is where most of our evictions take place for the associate dockets. And I will also say that, I agree with Chris that the advice right now in Jefferson, because of the possibility of getting a very unfavorable court date, is not to file. That's not what we usually say. We usually say, hey, maybe we should file and get in line. But, we're trying to tell you not what is best for us as the law firm, but what's best for you guys. And we think right now, holding off in Jefferson County is the wise course. Chris has very good contacts down there with respect to court dates, with his clerks and everything. So he'll know when it's good to file again. You can always, check in with us between Fridays if you have questions about that. So I don't know anything else. Federal court is kind of sort of open, but we're still doing bankruptcy court by phone. Anybody have any questions?
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
No, well, it's no faults. It's a lot. Yeah, we appreciate the update. I don't know. I don't know if anybody has any questions. That's, to me, it just, just being up on what you're saying, it does say a lot. of what's going on with everything. And it seems like it's chaotic. There's no standards with what's going on here. That's what it appears.
Well, I think that that's a frustration that's shared by a lot of the judges in the circuits that that we're not getting good guidance. And, you know, I feel like we're not getting good guidance from the highest federal levels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not getting good guidance from the state government in Missouri. The local officials are trying to do the best they can, but, you know, Jefferson, I mean, those people down there were like rioting if there was a mask order. And so now their courthouse is shut down. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, man up, wear the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that can keep us in business, that's to me a very small price to pay.
Yeah.
My husband even wears his mask and he has COPD and it's hard for him to breathe, but he does it. I mean,
Yeah.
compared to, you know, the alternative of going back to where we were in March where everything was shut down, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Mm.
Sorry to preach, but
No, you're good. You're well in line, Kathy. Well in line with what you're saying here. Yeah, I know Jefferson County is different, and I know even St. Francis County is even different. Another step, which I don't want to say anything bad. We own some places down there too, and that's just it's a whole different world. You know, people treat it differently.
yeah, St. Francis County is the wild, wild west.
Comparatively, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
I've been to a lot of these counties. I like going to outstate counties. It's not often worthwhile for me to take a case there for the client because I have to charge more to go, but sometimes it works out where I get to go. And I've been to a lot of these counties. I generally enjoy going there, but some of them are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know what to say anymore. You guys did such a great job on your writ, and I was really excited about that. I mean, I'm still excited about it because I think there's a lot of good's going to come out of that, and I know what kind of work you put into that. Just reading through it, I had to put on my my glasses that read slow so I can understand because it was so well written, and I really do see that good coming out of that down the road, and that is just you don't know how much that is appreciated for us that are here. You guys are in the trenches taking all this for us.
Well, I feel like one of the big problems is the tenants get all the sympathy. And even if we lose the writ at the Supreme Court level, I think we've raised some awareness. We've caused this to be discussed. We've gotten in the business journal, you know, with our side being presented a little bit. And that's important. You know, the ACLU has filed this ridiculous lawsuit in Jackson County saying that all evictions should be totally shut down. They have no sympathy for the landlords who can't pay their bills while all this is going on.
Right.
And what do they think is going to happen with housing?
Yeah.
What do they think?
Well, there's going to be a lot of homeless. Is what it looks like. I mean, I don't know.
Well, does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Hi, Kathy. I have a
Hi, Ann.
question.
Yeah.
So I sent you a copy of our letter to Judge Burleson on Monday.
I thought that was very good. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I did ask that cases be considered individually. And we do have a judgment in which the tenant was supposed to move out on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
In your presentation this morning, you said the judge did give some exceptions. Can you talk about that a little bit more and what they were?
Yes, the exceptions are basically, we're keeping the commercial and 441 exceptions, and we're adding the exceptions that are in the CDC order. And the way that boils down really is the exceptions are that we can still execute on are for people who are doing unlawful things. They've been terminated for bad behavior, criminal behavior, you know, that kind of thing. And the ones that we can't evict on now are the straight non-payment of rent. So if you didn't sue for another cause beside the non-payment of rent, then we can't execute. Going forward, filing new suits in the city, you might want to consider whether you want to terminate the tenant and, you know, go after them for unlawful detainer or for 441 if they've done something egregious enough so that you will be able to execute. It's really hard to say because that will take a few weeks to do. And by then we'll be at November 6th when maybe Judge Burleson will expand his exceptions again. So it's hard to know what to advise you. He had suggested to me that we consider that we consider amending our judgments to include these categories. But I don't think we can just amend the judgment without giving notice to the defendant and have a new hearing.
Mhm.
It's possible that if we submit affidavits to our judge saying this tenant is doing XYZ and it's not just about non-payment, that she will order the executions. And so I'm going to ask Chris to study that and see if we think we can do it. The other thing that he is doing is, I will tell you that our main eviction judge in the city, Judge Colbert Botchway, is working really hard to accommodate us. And we have had Judge Neal, a retired judge, brought back to help. And he's working really hard too. And I asked Judge Burleson if we could keep Judge Neal, and he is going to try to let us keep Judge Neal through the end of the year. So at least we'll be able to do the part of the process, hopefully fairly expeditiously, where we have the dockets and the trials and everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
Chris, do you have anything to add to that? Were you listening?
Sorry, Greg came to my office and was talking about the writ.
Oh, okay.
What were we talking about?
Rex is going to try to give us Judge Burleson until the end of the year. And we were talking about how hard Nicole's working.
Oh, Judge Neal. Yeah. No, the judges that we've got it with have been very. I mean, they're dealt with a pretty tough hand because they've got they've got 1,000 attorneys and defendants wanting at them because they don't want they want cases heard and not heard but she is the city judges are working very hard, and I think most judges are working hard because they're frustrated by this, and it's their dockets that are being messed up, and it's not a position I'd want to be in. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't mind being a judge at some point, but doing it right now is not whenever I'd want to be it.
Well, because of the the rigmarole that we have to go through to get evidence in and all that kind of thing, to go into a breakout room and talk to someone, it really is a lot more work for everybody, and a lot harder to do this all remote.
Mhm.
I very much miss being at the courthouse. I'm sort of glad I don't have to go right now, but I miss being there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Harry,
Um,
can you get a 441 if I don't know if you can get a 441 for property damage, but you could do unlawful detainer for that.
It
What do you
was
think, Chris?
you can do it 441, but it's going to have to be a pretty severe threat of property damage. The standard is it's got to be a full year's worth of rent. There is a little bit of debate about whether they've already done the damage or if it's a threat of the damage. I tend to think it's a threat of the damage. I've done it before where the tenant was trying to burn the building down, in that scenario. But the damage one is the one you're not going to. The judge is going to be least able to do. Now, you could do a 10-day termination and then file an unlawful detainer. Obviously, in the city now, we're able to, and hopefully by the time we would file any new case, the judge would have lifted his order for rent and possessions too. But as we've seen, we've got no promises. But it sounds like you'll be able to do unlawful detainers on a fairly normal standard setting in the city. So that's how I would handle just regular old property damage.
Mhm.
Okay. I think John has the writ documents posted on your website,
Yes, we do.
and also St. Louis Business Journal articles. So if you want to review those, and then because we need attention and care, you can tell us how wonderful it is.
Now, is there somebody we could write to or communicate with as far as officials go to maybe push our case along? Or
I have no objection to people writing to judges, and
Okay.
it's Judge Burleson in the city and Judge Rex Burleson in the city and Judge Michael Burton in the county. And I think the best letters are the ones that say, here's my situation, and this is why why I'm suffering because of my inability, to execute on my judgment. I mean, to me, it's just so incredible when I let myself think about it, and it makes me so angry that there's no alternative. There's no legal alternative for you to get your property back. This is not constitutional. This is not due process. This is wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, I think we've all learned to live with this virus, maybe not in the most happy ways, but we're doing most of our everyday life things going to my husband's having cataract surgery next week.
Mhm.
You know, we're going to the grocery store. I mean, we're doing stuff now.
Mhm.
I just cannot believe they are still keeping you from enforcing your rights.
Mhm.
So yeah, you could write letters to those judges.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. You could call the papers where I don't think they, other than the Business Journal, I don't think they ever present both sides of the story on this issue. You can call Tony Messenger and tell him what an idiot he is. But
Mhm.
or you know, post on their websites, or you know, write them letters. But like I said, I think the most affecting and the most effective stories are where you are being harmed by this.
The personal stories is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
So even if we get an unlawful detainer, will the sheriff's office actually go over to the tenant and kick them out of the unit?
Mm.
Yes. Yes. In the city now, in the city, Judge Burleson has added that to the exception. You're going to be wanting, I think you're going to want to be careful how you word your ultimate judgment. And when we get the judge's actual order, other than what he just told me on the phone, we'll know what language to put in.
What about in the county?
In the county, evictions are still stayed. If they go to phase 2, according to Judge Burton's prior administrative orders, when they go to phase 2, they'll start up. They've been at phase 1 for 2 weeks. They possibly could go to phase 2 today. When I find out, and we usually don't find out, they make the phase announcements on Friday, but they usually don't post them until Monday, so I usually don't find out until then. When I find out, I'll email John and he can post it on your guys' website.
Thank you.
And then that would mean that we could get the sheriffs involved?
Yes. If you already have a judgment and you've already filed for the sheriff, the court should start processing those executions through to the sheriff, and the sheriff will be calling. We believe that they're going to do it starting with the earliest filed. So there's still judgments from January and February pre-shutdown that haven't been executed on. I know we have a number of them. So if you have a judgment and you haven't filed an execution, I would file the execution and get in line and hope that they go to phase 2 soon.
Now, is there any kind of like statutes of limitation as far as how long this can go on? I know this is unusual because usually, you know, due process is timely. Is there anything on that, or is this just unknown and it keeps going on? I mean, I don't know.
I guess it's unknown. I mean, this is, you know, a first time occurrence for most of us.
Mhm.
If they don't grant our writs, and then if we lose the Supreme Court writ, we're going to go to federal court. If we don't win somewhere, then we can't execute. I mean, if you were going to do illegal stuff, you could go and kick them out anyway and take the doors off and turn the utilities off. And, you know, and I've talked to some landlords who are frustrated, who are considered doing that.
Mhm.
I did finally tell one landlord the other day who said, I'm paying for the utilities. I'm not going to pay for them anymore. And I'm like, okay.
Well,
You know, I really should say no, but I understand. I think I told you guys this before. I was still offended. The St. Louis County website was like, oh, they can't kick you out, but they still have to do repairs.
right.
You know, with what money? And with what protection for the maintenance guy or the landlord when they're doing the repairs? Shouldn't they be able to not go because of COVID?
Yeah.
To do that work?
Yeah, it's just chaotic. That's all, the only word I can say is chaotic. I don't even
Yeah.
know what to say, because I mean, me personally, we've had a couple of problems. We had somebody just burn down. I just found out this morning somebody burned down a place. And had nothing to do with being evicted. She had a problem, you know, a domestic problem, and that's somebody we're doing a lease option to in a multifamily. And that's down in another county,
Well, that would be property damage.
That is property damage. Yeah, it is. I had another one where I had a squatter move in just the other day. I just found out. I hadn't been to the property in a week, and we were getting ready to sell that property. And the police were there 3 times just this week, just the other day. So, I mean, I've personally got stuff like that. I don't have eviction problems, but I got other major problems. And it's really tough for the police to deal with it. I mean, what are they going to do? The guy even knocked on the door saying that was his stuff. And then when I said, well, I'm going to call the police back, he took off running. Well, the police came back. Well, he was down the street and gone by then. I mean, what do you do in these cases? You know, normally the police would do something, but their hands are tied, as far as I could tell. You know, I feel sorry for them.
Well, it's bad all the way around. Sometimes if you get in a situation with the police where someone has moved back in after an eviction or a squatter has moved in, if you can get me on the phone, I can try to talk to them. But you know how many municipalities we have and how many different police departments. You know, some of them will help you, and some of them will say it's a civil matter. Call your lawyer.
Exactly.
They won't deal with it. And you know, I'm worried about this winter. I'm sure we all are. We're seeing bad news about, you know, big industry layoffs right and left, all over the place. So a lot more people are going to be out of work. I think it's going to be tough until they get a vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's definitely going to be tough.
On that high note.
Well, we appreciate the updates, Kathy and Chris too. I don't even know what to say other than thank you so much. I mean, this is it's enlightening. It's also, you know, it's frustrating for a lot of us. I know, I can only imagine what it's like for you, because you, like I said, you're in the trenches. You're right here in between everything, and you see both sides, and you know what the laws are too. It's like a lot of the stuff is not being followed. You know, like unconstitutional was exactly what the term is.
Yeah, it's very frustrating for us.
Kathy, one question: is there any updates on the lawsuits for the CDC moratorium?
Well, you know, I know that the ACLU has filed some crazy lawsuit in Jackson County. I know about it, but I haven't read it yet. They're trying to make Jackson County stop all evictions. And there is that lawsuit that some landlords filed in Atlanta in federal court there.
That's what I was talking about.
And the briefing schedule is that the government has to respond by today, and then the landlords have until either the 9th or the 16th, some additional time to respond back. So we'll be watching those briefs as they're filed and watching for a ruling on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anything else, guys? Okay, we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you, Christopher. We really appreciate you guys taking your time to keep us updated. And
thanks very much for having us. Oh, I want to say one more thing. For those of you who are voting early, voting absentee, that kind of thing, which I absolutely recommend, we would say that all the judges that are up for retention in the city and the county this year, that you should vote yes on.
Okay.
So we don't have anybody we want out right now.
Oh, good.
That's
That's a good thing.
I have one more quick question, because I did write a letter myself to Judge Burleson.
Yeah.
What was the judge's name in the county?
Michael Burton.
And John, did you say you have contact information for him?
I don't, but we can get you some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get that for
I'm
you.
pretty sure the county courthouse is 105 North Central, but you should check me on that. And there's a website. You can easily get that.
Well, I sent an email. I did it all electronically.
Oh, okay. Well, that is findable online as well, I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's something like michael.burton@courts.mo.gov.
Yeah. I think we should all take the time to do this, because, you know, it just makes a big difference. I think if you get 20 of these comments from people so that they understand how we're being impacted.
I think they need to hear your side. I think you should be respectful.
Oh,
And,
totally.
you know, right. Try to not express your anger. It's hard for me, although I'm in front of judges a lot, and it's hard for me sometimes, but so I get it. And try to tell, like John says, the personal side, how this is affecting you or your parents or your family, you know, that kind of thing.
I mean, if I can find my letter that I sent, I would share it with John as a starting board for people to start and modify to their, and then it's not so much work to create it from scratch. But
that's a great idea. Maybe John can post the letters.
Yeah.
I know Ann wrote a very good one. Maybe he can post the letters on your website.
That would be very helpful. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
People who want to share those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta want to. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So much appreciated, Kathy. Thanks again. All right. Well, I guess that's our updates for today. Anybody have anything else they want to add? We got a really good special presentation tomorrow with Ron LeGrand, known as the godfather of real estate investing. I know he's been around as actually longer than I have, if you can believe that. And he's taught a lot of the people around, and he's got a new twist on what he's doing right now as far as the terms goes, which really is pretty exciting. He's going to make a special exclusive appearance for us in the morning. We're going to open the doors at 8:30, even though our meeting actually starts at 9, because we want to kind of talk a little bit about. We haven't had much time for networking lately. We're going to go ahead and open that up. And then if you have anything, our haves and I call them have-nots, but our haves and wants, we're also going to have. We're going to have that open. So if you have anything that you would like to sell or anything you're looking to buy, have that information ready with your contact information. I know Ron's always good if you have anything that you're looking for, any deals, as far as explaining those to you. And then he will be holding a 5-hour free training on the 9th, which is next Friday. So make sure you clear your calendars for that too, or at least have some time put aside. So does anybody have anything that they'd like to add today? No, if not, I guess we'll just see you in the morning. Feel free to reach out anytime if you have anything else. If you have anything on as far as for Kathy or Kathy or Christopher or Christina, just yeah, go ahead and send an email in, or you can always get in touch with them. They are extremely busy right now, so please do respect their time. And if it's something, just a general question, you're probably better off to talk to us here on these broadcasts every Friday and get your answers. But if you have anything personal as far as being a client, then yeah, do please call their office. And of course, the contact information is on our website, and we will also have the recording up like we always do. So if nothing else, I guess we'll see you in the morning. So thanks for tuning in again, and y'all take care.